The term UI refers to the user interface, while UI design refers to the design of any visual elements present in the user interface. Whereas UX stands for user experience, product design involves the entire process of creating a product from start to finish. It involves studying, designing, inventing, and manufacturing goods that address particular customers' need in that market. But we often use the term UI, UX, and product design interchangeably. But why do we place them together under one category? What are the key differences between these? Why are there three different roles? Are you also someone who often get confused around these terms and wonder when or where to use them responsibly? Let us begin by understanding the concept behind it. So without any further delay, let's get started. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any query or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.
Hello friends, welcome to this course on basics of UI, UX and product design. So as we know, this course is offered for you, dedicated by Great Learning. So before we get into this particular course on basics of UI, UX and product design, we need to be knowing what all are the various topics or what all are the various domains that we'll be covering in this particular course on basics of UI, UX and product design. So you might be having a clear idea or maybe at least a vague idea on what these are. So in this course, we'll be covering in a much deeper manner on these things. So before getting started with the course, let us move on and understand what exactly are the several categories that we have divided this course into so that it will be easier for you to learn how the things are working here in UI, UX and product design. Let's move on to the agenda and see regarding the various topics that we have planned to cover in this particular course. So coming to the agenda. So these are the various topics that we'll be covering. Which are they? What is UI? What is UX? And what is product design? These are the first three topics that we will be covering to you so that you will be having a basic understanding on what exactly is these things. UI, UX and product design. As the name suggests, the name of the course itself is on UI, UX and product design. So if you need to know more on that, you need to be knowing what exactly is that to know more about these in much detail. And after covering what exactly is UI, UX and product design, we'll be moving on to our fourth topic, which is nothing but who is a UI designer. So after covering UI, UX and product design, you need to be knowing who are the ones who's taking care of all these things, right? Who is the actual person designated to be working on the domain? So those are for UI designers. Who are they? Then we'll be moving on to UX. If someone is working in the domain of UX, who are they? What are they called? And what are the responsibilities that they are accompanied with? And that is where we'll be knowing on who is a UX designer. And finally, we'll be coming on to the third part, that is, who is a product designer. So these are the various three domains that you are having if you are into UI, UX or product design. And finally, after covering on the designation and on what exactly are these things, we'll be comparing. We'll be looking at the differences between UI, UX and product design. What exactly is the difference? Are there much difference that we need to be looking into? So these are the various things that we will be covering in this particular course on basics of UI, UX and product design. Stay tuned to learn more on these things. So friends, let's get started with the course by looking into our very first topic for this course on basics of UI, UX and product design, which is nothing but what is UI? So what is UI? So that's exactly what we'll be covering here. UI actually refers to user interface. So before you actually get into something, you will be shown how the things are appearing in front of you. What are the various options available to you? And What is the procedure that you need to be following? What is the kind of flow that you should be having before you proceed with something? So even if you're actually trying to order something on Amazon, Flipkart, or Myntra, you need to be logging into your account. You need to be browsing through the items that you need to be buying. You need to be comparing. You need to be viewing the different offers. And how is it possible for you guys? Just by having few clicks. So having few clicks is a big thing actually. It might be seeing very teeny tiny bit of task for you. But how are the people behind the scene knowing that you want this item delivered to this location? And how are they getting to know that? And how are you getting to feed them that this is the product that you want? That is just by clicking on the various options that is provided to you. And that is exactly what we are referring to here. That is user interface. Where are all the buttons? Where are all the key features which is being present to us for us to enable so that we'll be able to get addressed to whenever we are in require of them or we are in need of them? UI design refers to the interface and graphical layout built by designers in devices and softwares. So if we are actually coming across different softwares, we'll be having different layouts, different backgrounds, different themes and designs as well. So these are the various things that we should be looking into in UI, which is nothing but user interface. How actually it is being presented in front of you to the end customer. That is exactly what we will be focusing in UI, user interface. Any visual element found in the application, from buttons to images and animation, is all part of UI design. So let it be anything. All the visual elements that is present or that is planned to be presented in front of the customer who is actually using the particular software, the device, or the application. So all these things will be coming under user interface. So friends, now is the time to move to our next topic, which is nothing but what is UX. So by now, we have covered on UI, what is user interface. So it will be much more simpler and easier for you to understand what exactly is UX. So without wasting much time, let us now get going with our second module, which is nothing but what is UX. UX actually refers to user experience. What is the kind of experience that you are able to provide to your end users or end customers? If one person is actually browsing through your application or using your software, and if they don't find it interesting, and if they actually not have the particular motivation to keep browsing, they'll be tending to move to any other software or any other application. Especially if your competitor is actually providing a better user experience, the users will be automatically tended to move to their applications and browse and bring business to them. So that we should be making sure that the kind of experience that we are able to provide to our customers is high. They should be encouraged, they should be motivated, and they should be willing to use our app or software very frequently when they need to be doing so. UX also refers to how the products are designed in order to provide meaningful and relatable experience to the end users. How is it being made possible? How can we do, or how can we better the kind of implementations that we are having right now to provide meaningful and relatable experience to our end users? UX design consists of elements like utility, functions, ease of use, and so on. Even if you showcase your users with a lot of designs and a lot of themes, but the kind of functionality that you're providing to them is minimal, they'll not be able to make use of it to the maximum. And if it's not following easy procedures, that will also be driving away your potential customers or users to your competitors. So we should be making sure that the kind of experience that we are able to provide to your customers or to your end users is the maximum or is the best that you could do. Here, we should be looking into three main domains. That is nothing but who, what, and why. In who comes the end user behavior and motivations. We should be knowing what is the kind of behavior your customers are having. And how can you motivate them to keep them browsing or keep them using your application or software? Then comes what? Features and functionality. What is the kind of features that you are providing to your end users? And how is the functionality like? Is it easy to use? Are you providing all the features, or are you lagging on something? So that is exactly what you should be looking under what. And then comes why. What kind of experience is being offered here? Are people happy? Are your end users satisfied with your experience or satisfied with the kind of addresses that you are giving to them? That is exactly what you should be looking under why. So in UX, user experience, as the word experience suggests, we are deeply looking into the kind of experience that we are providing to our end users or customers. So here we are in the third module, or the third topic that we had planned to cover in this course on basics of UI, UX, and product design. So by far, we have completed the first two parts, that is UI and UX. Now is the time to look at PD, that is product design. Now let's have a glance at what is PD or product design to understand more on product design. Product design is a term that refers to the end-to-end creation of products. So how are products created? They need to be planning, they need to be getting the approval, they need to be estimating the cost, they need to be working on all the other things parallelly as well. So all these things from the start to the end is going to be implemented here in product design. How a product should be, what should be the application of this particular product, what should be the kind of return that you are expecting. So all these things would be coming into product design. Product design involves several tasks. As we mentioned, it is actually a combination from the start to the end of the particular product. So several tasks will be including researching, developing, imagining, and also creating products that addresses to specific user problems. So we need to be doing the market research. What is the kind of opportunity that you will be having if you are getting into this particular category or this particular segment? What is the kind of return that you will be getting? And how much time, or what is the kind of duration that you will be needing to work to get into the profit making sessions or to cover the break-even point? So all those things will be coming here. We need to be doing the research. We need to be developing the particular product with which we'll be able to satisfy the customer needs. We'll be able to address to all the concerns that they are having. So various tasks and several activities are involved in product design. Product design understands the needs and anticipate the usage of a set product. What is the need for the customers to buy or to own or to use our particular product? What is the need for them? And what is the kind of usage that we are expecting out of them? How frequent will they be buying our product? How frequent will they be using our product? For how long will they be using our product when they are using it for the first time, for the second time? And what is the kind of duration that they will be spending on our product on a daily basis? So all these things are the various kind of research and work which is going into a product. And all these things are carried out in product design. Now, we have completely understood what is UI, what is UX, and what is product design. So who are the persons who are actually working on these segment or on these categories? So that is exactly what we'll be going to deal in few minutes. So to start with, we'll be looking at our first topic here. That is, who is a UI designer? So UI designer is actually nothing but it's a person who's working on UI. So let's get into a bit more detail on UI designer in this particular module. The job of a UI designer is to design the visual elements of an application. So when you're building an application, you want the application to be feasible and it should be appealing to your users. As I've mentioned earlier, if it's not so appealing, the users will not be actually having that feel to open your application and browse through it. So you should be making them feel to do. You should be motivating them. How can you do that? That is by including visual elements. That is exactly what a UI designer does. UI designers are graphic designers who are concerned with creating visually appealing and appropriately themed interfaces. They are the ones who actually develop the interface which we actually showcase to our end users. They are graphic designers who enables this to happen when you are actually creating your application or software. So the main concern or the main responsibility of a UI designer is to visually appeal the users who are actually using the applications. So visually appealing feature is the responsibility of a UI designer to bring in. UI designers aim to create united visuals that facilitates movement and interaction within the app. So the app, whatever business you're into, when you're developing an app, you'll be having certain functionality for that app, right? So you'll not be simply building an app which is useful for nothing. Maybe you can book tickets, maybe you can book something, maybe you can actually buy something out of it, or maybe you can even browse or research. So no matter what kind of app you are actually building or you are actually designing, it'll be having a function. So you should be making sure that it is visually appealing and at the same time it should be functionable. The kind of functionality should not be compromised while you're developing your app. An ace UI designer understands human behavior and idea of user centricity. We should be completely focusing on the user who is the one using the application which we are designing. So we should be thinking from the perspective of the end user. How can this application be appealing to him? What are the major changes that I'll be able to incorporate to make sure that the ones who are opening the app or using the app will be using it for at least 2 to 3 minutes? How can we ensure this kind of duration? So all these things will be the responsibility of a UI designer, user interface designer. UI designers leverage empathy in design to create interactive elements that respond in a way that feels natural to the user. The user should not be feeling that, okay, this particular person is persuading me or forcing me to take this particular app, use it, browse it, buy this item, and make me do it. The user should not be feeling that. It should be a natural instinct which is created within the human or within the end user who is actually using the particular application. So it should be so creative that he should not be feeling that we are making them do it. So all these things which might seem silly but pays a lot while you are into this particular segment. Now moving on to our next designation, which we are looking at in this particular course, which is nothing but who is a UX designer. As we already know, UX stands for user experience. And absolutely we'll be able to understand that a UX designer's main objective would be to understand and improve the kind of experience that you are able to generate among your users. So that's not exactly what is actually entitled to a UX designer. What else? Let's have a deeper dive onto UX designer. A UX designer is responsible for the user's satisfaction with the product that determines the structure and functionality of the particular product. So it is the responsibility of a UX designer to make sure that the customers or the end users who are using the particular application is actually satisfied. They are actually content with the kind of response or the kind of addresses that we are able to provide them. So if they are happy, we'll be happy, we'll be generating more business, and we'll be getting our part done. The primary role of a UX designer is to make sure that the product created is enjoyable, accessible, and meaningful. Am I reading? And meaningful to the end user. If the particular person who is using the application is not enjoying the kind of service or the kind of experience that they are getting by using our software or application, it is so obvious that they'll be turning down and they'll be looking after our competitor in the particular segment to make sure that they are getting something different and they are actually having fun or enjoying by getting their service. So it is our duty to make sure that they are enjoying. At the same time, it should be accessible to all. Maybe we'll be able to provide premium categories, which is of paid version, but even then, we should be providing a common space so that people will be able to come, experience, and get to know more regarding the particular application that we are providing to them. And if they want to build more on that, and if they want to access more features that we are having, then it will be a stepping stone for them to understand the application and find that this particular application is going to be useful for them, and they will be willing to pay us even to subscribe for our premium features. So we should be making sure that it is accessible to all the customers as well, and it should be meaningful. It should be driving them to use and to come across all the applications that they need to be doing. Why did they actually install our application, or why did they actually come to us seeking our help? And are we not able to help them? We should be. If not, that will not be a meaningful task which they need to be doing. And if they are not getting the things done in the right time, in the right manner, they'll not be approaching us. So it is our responsibility to make sure that we are able to create them an enjoyable experience, satisfaction, and the particular application should be accessible to everyone, and it should be meaningful as well. UX designers design how the interface behaves, how the elements are organized, and how they connect, and so on. So all these things, the designing part, the kind of interactions, the kind of connectivity, and the kind of elements, and the kind of way which we are actually presenting it to our end users, all these things would be mattering. And it is the complete responsibility of the UX designer to pitch in and to make all the corrections and necessary modifications or changes which would be able to better the particular application and bring in more reviews and more satisfaction from our customers. A UX designer is deep rooted in consumer experiences and feedback when it comes to their core role. So one of the core roles they're having is that they should be making sure that they are satisfied. What is the kind of feedback they're having? And if there are any learnings that we'll be able to get in by following or by understanding the feedbacks which our users are giving us, if we are able to implement them, it is so certain that we'll be able to generate even more business by implementing those feedbacks which our loyal customers or our customers have already given us. Coming to our third job role or designation that we will be talking about, which is nothing but who is a product designer. Now let's look on who is a product designer in this particular module. Product designers take charge of the overall design of the product from end to end. How is the product looking aesthetically, and how is the functionality about the particular product? So the complete responsibility of the product is going to be held with the product designer. So he is the sole person responsible and accountable for the particular product. So he is the one who should be looking into all the matters from A to Z in a product design. Product designers always keep the user's experience and improvement from time to time. It is not just making sure that the customers are having a feasible experience while using the app. It is to make sure that you are continuously improving. You may be well off standard right now on the right moment when you have implemented, but as time progresses, there will be always chance or scope for continuous improvement. The technology is changing, the consumer power is changing, and the kind of trends that the market is following is also changing. So change is something which is inevitable. So you should be making sure that the kind of experience that you are able to provide to your users is continuously improving. Product designers not only inspects the overall working of the product, but also pays attention to how well the products work with customer experience. It's not just about creating some particular product which would be addressing to the particular customers. It should not be the only key. That is also a key factor which is having high importance. But at the same time, we should be knowing how well is the particular product. what is the kind of quality that we are imbibing with that particular product. So all these things are of a certain importance when we are looking into the whole perspective or the holistic perspective of a product. Product designers bear a greater duty for observing how various components of the product interact with each other. For example, if you are building an app, let it be an e-commerce store, online store, right? So you should be making sure that the customers or the users who is browsing through your app is able to see the distinguished products based on the categories or segments which they are searching through the filters. And after that, after liking one product, if he is able to order, he should be giving the delivery address, he should be making the payment. And if that portals are not being connected or interconnected, or if it is not being redirected to the certain page, it will not be working smoothly. You have done everything. The payment portal is working, the address delivery portal is working, or the portal in which the end user is able to browse through is also working. But if it's not interconnected, there is no use. The user will not be able to move to the next page to enter his address and also to the next page wherein which he'll be able to make the payment. If those things are not working, you'll not be able to bring in business. So all these are the various factors which a product designer needs to look into. So by now, we have completely covered what exactly is UI, UX, and product design. After that, we went on to understand who is UI designer, UX designer, and also product designer. Now is the time to understand what is the exact difference between UI, UX, and product design. So in this module, we'll be talking regarding that. So let's get going with the differences that you will be able to depict or you will be able to understand from UX, UI, and product design. UI design is actually a subset of UX. As we know, UI is user interface and UX is user experience. In user interface, we'll be talking about the kind of interface that you are creating in front of the end user who's actually using the application for his purpose. So all the visual elements, the appealing, the aesthetical appearances that you are able to showcase in front of your end user. So the reason why I here mention that UI is actually a subset of UX is mainly because it all contributes to the experience that you will be able to get in for the particular end user who is using the particular application which you have designed or created. Since all the interface, the physical appearance and aesthetical appearances will always be encouraging and always be adding to the experience that you will be able to get in the particular end user. In user experience, the main focus or the sole focus is entirely on the experience that you are able to imbibe within the end user who is using your product. UX covers a wide range of elements. So in order to bring in experience, it's not an easy task. You should be making them motivated, making them interest, and making them spend more time on our application. At the same time, you are also having competition as well. So in UX, you are having some additional elements as well. UX determines how an interface works, whereas UI determines how the interface will look. So what it looks like will be the responsibility of UI, and what it works or what it does is actually the responsibility of UX. Product design is the same as UX design, but it includes some additional elements. Here also, an additional element or some additional features are to be incorporated to product design when compared to UX. Let's see what those are. UX designers emphasize on the user and their experience, whereas product designers covers wide range of ground while including business goals in addition. So here, for product design, it's not just that it should be acceptable, it should be feasible, and it should be creating more experience to the end user. It is also about the kind of business that you're into. What is the kind of goal you are assigned with? How will you be able to bring in more profit and have more transaction happening? So all these would be coming to you as a product designer. additionally from UI and UX. UX designers are solely responsible for customer experience, but product designers work with the whole business, design, and decisions for its growth. All the external factors, the kind of research, the kind of approval, the market trends, and all those things are matter of fact the interest or the responsibility of product designers, but not the interest of UI and UX designers. Their responsibility is to make sure that whatever they are doing is going to drive in customers, to drive in the engaging users who is needing our particular application. But additional features like the profitability, return on investment, and also on break-even point, the research, all those things would be the responsibility which would be added upon to a product designer apart from that of UX and UI. By now, we have completely covered all the topics that we had planned to cover in this particular course on UI, UX, and product design. So what all did we cover? What all did we learn in this particular course on UI, UX, and product design? Let's have a look at that. We start off by understanding what UI is. UI is all about visual elements that you present in front of your customers or the end users who will be using your application, your software, or whatever you are creating or you are designing. Then we came to UX. UX talks about the experience that you are able to create or to give to your users who is using your application or software. The kind of experience that you are able to imbibe within your experienced users. Then we also talked about product design, which is nothing but the overall process that is going to be included from research to development to implementation. So all those things would be the sole responsibility of product designers. That also we saw regarding that. Then we also came across to know that people who work on the specified domains of UI are called as UI designers, and who work on the domain UX are called as UX designers, and the one who actually work on product design would be called as product designers. At the same time, after covering on UI, UX, and PD, that is product design. After that, we went on to understand who is a UI designer, who is a UX designer, at the same time, who is a product designer. And after understanding each of them individually, we also had a module where we talked about them together. We actually differentiated them. We actually found out how is UI different from UX and how is UX different from product designers. So all these are the various topics that we had covered in this particular course on basics of UI, UX, and product designer. Hope you have had a fun and informative session with me, and let's see another time with another course. Thank you.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any query or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.